And on behalf of GlobalMET and all the members, may I just say our words of support for the maritime community and the people of Ukraine with the circumstances that are forced upon the country. We pray that you shall have peace soon and life will get back to normal. Uh, I will share my screen in a second. As we speak, I just wanted to first say that this time around, I did not wish to talk about the STCW or the changes that are happening and all the alternate fuels, because I think every teacher in the maritime world is following the developments of the HTW committee. And we all know the challenges that are there with respect to adding competencies for the future seafarer. But I thought let's take a little view back about students and teachers' relationship in the way we teach and in the way the students learn. So please allow me to start with the old days on it and go forward with some um, advice or comments about what we are going to be doing. There is something not happening clearly here. Give me a second. Yeah, okay, works. Okay, so as far as we know, human beings by nature, unlike other animal species, are always thirsty for learning more knowledge. This is one of the innate characteristics of human beings, that we are continuously trying to learn something new every day of our lives. So if we take the journey right from the caveman days, people have tried to transmit knowledge to the next generation. It started with possibly just parents talking to their children about life, and then it graduated to cave paintings, and then through the centuries, we have had the way education and learning has changed is the journey I want to talk about. But the fact is that human beings have always tried to teach the next generation and give them the knowledge and the skills for survival. So, in the days of Socrates, they probably all sat under a tree or in a room, and the disciples listened to the philosopher. And the first, I would say, big jump that happened in education was the invention of the printing press and printing of books, from the Egyptian papyrus leaves to the modern books that we had, all the way into devices like Kindle, where we can read things on our mobile devices. So this kind of increased the overall knowledge and the learning of human beings on the planet. And then we came to the industrialized education, and Google research will tell you that one of the first universities was in 427 AD in India, which is now being revived again by the new government, the Nalanda University. And then we have examples from all over the world that through the medieval uh, historical period, we had a lot of good universities being set up. But education kind of remained the privilege of rich nations and the elite classes. An average person was not getting the education in school and college like the elite people were getting. The classroom evolved, right? We started with blackboards and whiteboards, and then we moved over to little CRT screens in the classroom and a little bit of doing things with the hands. And then we moved on to classrooms, which are even now existing, like in all the ECDIS classrooms in the maritime universities. We have computers, we have whiteboards, we have large screens. And then I think the future classroom will look somewhat like this imaginary classroom from the internet that I can look at, more modern, using things like what we are using right now with webinar and people from all over the world attending the lecture from someone and it is not limited to being in that place and not limited to one country. And at the same time, thousands of students can be listening to people. We then kind of moved into the world of internet and Google research, etc. And that changed education in another way, that it kind of made it more accessible to people around the world. You didn't have to be rich, you didn't have to pay university fees, but you could still learn on your own with a number of places like the Coursera, Udemy kind of platforms, the Khan Academy, etc. And learning management systems became kind of more common. I remember that we introduced in Anglo Eastern the first learning management system in 2006. So we moved into a generation where education became more accessible to everyone. But now I think we are going through, in the world of education, through another change, that knowledge is not necessarily given by a teacher. It's given by the search engine, and 91% of the world's market share on search engines is dominated by one company, and technology is collecting whatever everybody has said, whatever everybody has recorded, whatever everybody has written, all into one place for finding knowledge. And then we are moving into the video age where YouTube is becoming even a better search engine with more audio-visual material. And you can just look at the statistics, 30 billion views in 2022 for the short videos. And 31% of the world population is using YouTube. So again, today, if somebody wants to learn something, there will be material available on Google as well as on YouTube. It may not necessarily be the right quality of content. That there may be good professors and good teachers putting their content out on these platforms, but along with that comes a whole lot of poor quality teachers' content in all these platforms. And the student has a problem. And we all know that whatever appears on Google in the first 10 pages probably is all sponsored and paid for by the clients of Google. So finding information, availability is there, but getting to the right information is still a problem in these kind of platforms. What is also happening is that we are all producing a lot more knowledge today than in the previous hundreds of years. This is one of the IBM reports that became very popular, which said that 90% of the world's data has been created just in the last 2 years. And I think we all know how easy it is to create good content or bad content now with all the content authoring tools that are available. And this impact of social media, that 2.9 billion people are attending or looking at Facebook, 2.2 billion people are looking at YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, etc. So what it means is that our student is learning from all of these platforms, whether by choice or without realizing, by just spending those 7 hours a day on social media or 4 hours a day for the older people. People are learning things from all of these platforms. And what is obvious is that there is a popularity of short bursts of information, videos, whatever format, in bite-sized learning. Everybody wants to know the news now only in headline news. The television channels are competing for the social media in terms of giving out the news. I think we all know that the two present big wars going on in Ukraine and in Israel, Gaza, there is so much of information which is being recorded by individual citizens, which is making the whole world see what's really happening. So this change in the way knowledge is disseminated is also affecting each and every educator in the world. The workforce for tomorrow on the ships. I know the statistics for my last company, Anglo Eastern, and about 60% of our workforce was already millennial and Gen Z. So the global workforce was 35 in 2020 was 35% millennial, 35% Gen X, and Gen Z 24%. So people of my age, uh, we were the we belong to the baby boomer generation, as the Americans want to call it, and we are only 6% now of the workforce. Uh, what is happening with all this social media effects, etc., is span of attention of everybody is reducing, and the way people are learning is changing dramatically. There's another study that I managed to find which says 56% of the people study at the point of need, 48% prefer to study in the evenings and weekends, 41% on their desk, but 30% during lunch breaks and other breaks. So people are improving their knowledge even during their lunch breaks. They are choosing what they want to learn. And a lot of learning is happening through podcasts or YouTube videos on the way to the office or back from the office. And the younger generation is impatient. I have seen 12-year-olds who watch YouTube videos at 1.5 speed. To me, it all sounds garbled of what the person is saying, but somehow the 12-year-olds are learning even with that kind of a thing because they are impatient. They don't want to listen to 1x speed and they want to absorb or move on very quickly. There are statistics which say that in the videos of YouTube, if you do not get their attention in the first 7 seconds, you have lost the attention of the learner. So while YouTube is not a learning platform only, it's a social platform, but the learnings from these kind of research is important for us as educators uh, for getting the attention of our seafarer students. So maritime industry is generally very slow in adoption of modern teaching methods. We still like to do hands-on training, and I believe there is a place for hands-on training. We adopted simulators much after other industries. And I would say that today, except for, I mean, the cruise supply nations have plenty of simulators, but the new nations where cruise supply may go to, countries like Kenya, Ghana, Vietnam, Myanmar, Cambodia, they're all coming in, Indonesia, they're all coming in more as seafarers. The facilities for simulators out there is still not enough, uh, even though this is a good modern way, as we know, of teaching. So there's a little bit about what I am doing today after taking retirement from Anglo Eastern is trying to make a difference in bringing about new kind of teaching methods, which I believe the youngsters like. So this is like a mobile app with micro learning videos, taking the same thing that we are teaching, for example, importance of fire doors. We would be teaching this in our SOLAS classes in the classroom, but there is another way of doing it by with audio visual 5 minute, 7 minute videos. Power of virtual reality. I mean, when we try to teach the construction of a four-peak tank internals or the whole construction from 2D and 3D sketches, I don't think it is easy for the student to imagine what they are learning. But when we do this with a virtual reality program and they can wear the glasses and walk inside the tank while the teacher is telling them about what's a panting stringer, what's the beam, what's the collision bulkhead, I think it does change the perspective of the student in the absorption and understanding of what they are learning. Games. I mean, we all know that today a 12-year-old or a 15-year-old possibly spends 2 to 3 hours a day, if the parents don't object, on doing some kind of games. Now, you could say games is entertainment, but games is also a way of teaching. So in my humble attempt, I am trying to teach people through games on important things like handling PSC deficiencies, understanding the SOLAS requirements, understanding the requirements of different equipment like hatch covers on the ship. So there are other ways in doing it. Simulators, my favorite. I think they will evolve better and better. I can see the graphics are improving every year in all of these simulators. There are, we all know about 4 or 5 big companies selling simulators to us. And I'm sure that they and new companies will keep innovating, and the full mission simulators will become even more realistic than they already are. So, in my belief, these rapid changes in technology, as John also mentioned about alternate fuels training and the changes in the technology challenges, we all know this is the DNV report that I am quoting. 800,000 seafarers need to be trained for the use of alternate fuels. True, the regulations are lacking behind. People are already having ships with LNG as a fuel, and biofuels are already there for trials. Methanol is already there. And the education industry, all of us, we need to catch up, and we still need to train even before the STCW competency tables come out for all of these new fuels. So, adoption of the technologies which are coming on board, uh, products like navigation products with all passage planning being done by the shore server and being sent to the ship. I know in Anglo Eastern we had 550 ships fully connected, and we could get their positions in the office every 15 seconds. All the routing, passage planning was automatically done by the Wärtsilä product that we were using, and there are many such products in the market now. So the seafarers also need to be learning all of these things about the new technology, using the new technology to learn. And the other big elephant in the room is, how is artificial intelligence going to affect the life of a teacher and the life of a student? I know that some countries like the US and China and Hong Kong are adopting artificial intelligence with 10-year-old students are being asked in the part of their curriculum in the schools to use artificial intelligence, and not to say, oh, artificial intelligence is not yet giving the right answer, so let's not use it. A lot of countries are actually, instead of being refusing to use it, are actually encouraging the use, because people who are 10 years old today are going to be affected by the progress of artificial intelligence in a big way over the next decades. So we need to adopt quickly. Even in maritime education, my advice would be, we should be looking at how to use artificial intelligence in our industry, in our education programs. What can we as educators do? And I call upon IAMU, Nautical Institute, and the industry bodies and the industry companies who are working in the field of AI, that GlobalMET would be happy to partner with any of the industry partners to sit together and to say, let's collaboratively look at how we can introduce artificial intelligence in the education of the seafarers. I think that's all I have to say for today. Thank you very much for listening. And if you have any questions, I'm ready to take them now. Or please take a picture and you can send me your questions anytime, or discussions or anything, that I am more than happy. I really, really wish that we can all come back to be with all of you in Odessa soon, and share a meal together and be visiting all of you soon. Thank you very much.
Universities around the world. You have Francis in your speech and historical backgrounds and progressive educational points. Yes, again, we'd like to thank our speaker, Mr. Pradeep Chawla, for his interesting report and really bullet points, burning points, common for all maritime educational institutions that you have highlighted in your speech. Historical background from the universities where students take their seats up to artificial intellect, which can be used in maritime education and training. Thank you very much. And now our next speaker